Hey everybody, rocking with the Rock Dog, and on this day, probably before mushroom season 2022, we are in Bopel's Bottom by the re-regulatory dam of the Mark Twain Lake off Route A on Cincinnati Road, about 2 miles. All right, that was a mouthful. That was a pretty good description of where I'm at. Let me show you what we got going on here. I've hunted mushrooms down here dozens and dozens of times. I've never found bucketfuls, but I've always found hatfuls down here, it seems like, every time you come down here and look. So I'll show you kind of what's up. This is setting up to be about the perfect year. There's no leaves on the trees, as you can see, yet, so the sun's going to hit all that these both next 2 days coming up, where it's going to be over 80 degrees and the sun's going to shine. So about the middle of next week, it's going to happen. So what you do, you can come down here, you can park in their nice little parking lot, just start walking around. Maybe you'll find some mushrooms down here. I don't have much luck in cedars in my whole life, so I mean, if they're there, you can see them popped up everywhere. So other than that, I don't really look in there. I found them a couple times in there, but this is honeysuckle. This is something really nice to look under too. See, it's already grown a couple 3 inches, so spring's about here. You got your purple violets over here. This was an old homestead, is why you see things like that here at one time, but the house is long gone since the Corps taking it over. Got you some banks up there to where they could, mushrooms like growing on a bank a lot better than they do on flat ground around here. Grass isn't up really too tall yet. It's going to grow really fast though this weekend. They got a duck observation deck over here you can climb up and look out on. Looks like the only thing that's been up at some animals. See the little scratch marks? Alright. See, that's why you use galvanized nails. This thing's been here 30 years and them nails still look good, don't they? Usually lots and lots of ducks out there if you like taking pictures of ducks. You see them little young sycamore trees out in there? That's a good spot for some mushrooms. Look right here, you got your nice big elm tree. Let's go down there and look at that. Some people were saying, hey, show the trees a little bit better and stuff like that. Everybody knows what cedar looks like. Like I said, I don't have much luck underneath cedar trees. Man, them steps are slick. You gotta be careful going down them. Now this one's growing up underneath the cedar tree, so it could do it. That's about the right size. It's not dying out yet. A lot of times elm trees will have these little side limbs off of them like this that die off, see? The little ones especially do that a lot. They're almost always vase shaped. They get that Dutch elm disease that makes them, they don't have any vigor then, and they start dying out pretty quick. Look, we got some little mushrooms growing right there. That's from this year, so that's a good sign. See, that whole log's inoculated. And that's an elm tree branch. So probably if you move this over, you can probably see the mycelium growing into the ground. We'll give you a look. See, you got a nice worm there. He's enjoying it. Usually there's a mouse hole under a big log in the woods. That's where they stay hiding out at. Somebody lost a cork. Alright, a lot of times I'll go down to the parking lot. There's a parking lot down here at the boat ramp, and I'll hunt back this way. That's what I do most of the time, but you can find some up in here too usually. See, that's not growed up too much. Looks pretty nice. Right over there, see that? That's the spot that I usually hunt from the parking lot. I almost always find some mushrooms in there. And then you walk along the river, there's a little bit of riprap down along there too. We'll go check that out in a minute. Willows, sometimes mushrooms are around them, but that's usually because they're building the bank up there and not because the mycelium's growing on the roots. Looks like a couple of deers met their end right here. We got a lot of mountain lions down here. That's generally what's eating on them like that to get them that clean. Wonder where their heads are at. If you like bow hunting, there's another one. So that's 3 that got it right here. He's dragging them up here and eating them. See right over there's a bunch of dead ones too. We have stumbled on to Mr. Cougar's feeding zone from last fall. No time lately. Well, like a little walk around here, maybe we'll find a big giant deer antler. Head with the antler still attached to it. If we do, we got to tell the game warden within 24 hours. See, there's another dead deer. Wow, that's a smaller one. There's one got it there. Yeah, this is their kill spot. Right here's a good mushroom spot. See this? Right in the sun. Got your elm trees right there. That's a elm tree there. This might have been like where the house foundation was or something. They dug it. Maybe they dug it out. I don't know. They didn't have lagoons for septic systems when there was a house here, so that wouldn't be it. Multiflora rows, mushrooms like growing underneath of them. It keeps the weeds pulled up off the ground a little bit instead of flat like that, so they can actually pop up through. Mushrooms will come up right there, but you'll never see them, but you'll see them right there, and then you can maybe flop it over and pick a couple extra that way. See how that's kind of fluffy under there, but you wouldn't see them, but you'd see them if they was right in that. Somebody needs to inform Mr. Mountain Lion this is a no hunting zone. I've been down here before, and this thing is just loaded with 6 and 8 pound carp. If you're a bow fisherman, this is a great spot to come bow hunting. Once this goes down just a little bit more, but there's a whole bunch of big carp right in that. And that's only about 3 foot deep right now, probably. It's over these boots for sure. Yep, that's the spot right there. We're not in the right place, but we're just kind of wandering around looking at stuff today anyway. We don't have much of a chance till Monday. Even if it gets 80 tomorrow and the next day, that's just going to get started good. Bluffview Recreation Area, the re-regulatory dam is right there. That's a good spot. There's a boat ramp there. Up and down the river there is a good spot to look to for mushrooms, but that boat ramp can be a little tricky if they drop the river level. You can be stranded. And you don't want to run a motor down there because you'll bang your prop up for sure if there's no water. This thing will be loaded with baby geese pretty quick. Somebody's fishing float out of their basket. And I need one of those. Cool. Use an oil can, but you know, that don't work worth a shit. Well, that's got a hole in it. That ain't gonna work with a shit either. Yeah, see right up in here, this is just absolutely almost perfect. There's no witchweed or poison ivy right in here. It doesn't appear to be either. Right up underneath these shrubs like this, you want to bring a little kid with you so you can send them in there. Plus they'll gather up all the ticks and chiggers, and you can see them on them and pick them off. That's a pretty nice tree there. That's kind of odd. Look at that. Sure does look good, people. Wish we was picking them instead of talking about it, but we're putting in the time, so what's going to happen? Usually where I hunt in Missouri, we don't hunt 20 minutes from the car. If we don't find enough of them in 20 minutes, we go back somewhere else. See, this was a house. Somebody had irises here. See all these irises? This is how you find heirloom irises that nobody else has. go out in the country and find these old things. There'll be a square on a map almost everywhere a house was on some of the maps, and they have all kinds of real cool stuff that they planted to survive on 100 years ago here. The apple trees are a really good spot in a spot like this to find mushrooms. Let's look around and see if we can find any apple trees. Boy, underneath that big shrub right there, that's going to be a good spot. There's almost always an old apple tree or a pear tree around an old farmstead like this, so that's probably where their well was. I would think it would be over in there somewhere. Let's go look. You never know what you're going to find stumbling around the woods up here. See, we're still in good shape. There's not many leaves on the trees blocking the sun. Grass isn't growing real fast. That's a good thing too. I mean, if we get 2, really 3 hot days in a row like we're supposed to have, it's going to jump really fast. But we still got all week to do good and look in places like this. All right, let's head back to the truck before the mountain lion gets us. They're somewhere with their cubs right now in that bluff over there that I showed you. This is a flat spot where all the deer are at in the winter. So they come down here and eat all the deer, then they raise their babies over in that bluff. They usually have about 3 of them. All right, rock dog out. We're just waiting for it to happen. Let me put this on pause. I'll go down to the boat ramp down here, and I'll show you some stuff down there that's going on too. I didn't jinx myself. I didn't bring my bucket with me, because then I know I wouldn't find anything. Feels like the sun's going to come out for too much longer. Clouds starting to break up a little bit. Let me stand out here in this open area, give you a look at this big nice bottomland here in Missouri. It's pretty sweet. Mr. Bopel, he's owned that farm forever. They named this whole bottom after him. Hunter fisherman access is just right up there by that guardrail. We ain't got to go too far for it. There's a boat ramp there. Get you to behind the main dam in about 8 miles. We'll go check it out. Rock dog pause. Alright, we have went about a half a mile down the road, and that brings us to Hunter Fisherman Access number 70. Wow, I didn't know we had 70 of those. Got a boat ramp here, got a little slough over here, got mushrooms all over in the spot right over here. I'll show you what's up down here. I never find a lot of them here either, but I always find some. So, like I said, this could be the year where they're everywhere, so we're going to find out. That nice slough over there looks like it's loaded with crappie. It is not. I have never caught one in there ever, and I've tried many times. All the crappie are right here by the boat ramp, by that tree. We're going to fish from the bank. Little current breaker. See, we call this a chains down here because it's got these big chains on it. But this is where I sneak into and go mushroom hunting a lot of times for a few minutes, because it almost always pays off for a few and it's easy. I will advise you, do not walk out in there without sugar spray, because they will eat you alive in this spot. I had that happen once or twice here. The mosquitoes are bad here at night too. But mushroom spots, just as soon as you start getting out, that right there is really good. See, that's almost all sycamore trees. Right here by the river, I usually find some too. And I'm going to come down here 2 or 3 times in the next week, so you got to beat me here to find them. Somebody's been fishing right here. See, it gets up 4 or 5 feet here. They never let it get over this grass, I don't think, that I've seen. So you can find them out in here and they won't be sandy. Sure, you can go to the Mississippi River in Hannibal 20 miles from here and pick a lot of mushrooms, but they're plumb full of sand and you can't eat them. You can't sell them. You'll sell them the first day and the next day nobody's going to buy any from you, so we don't do that. Got you a nice little path here, and I found them right in this path most of the time too, especially if it's a good year in a rut. Mostly though, I look for around big sycamore trees hanging out of the bank. See, this is a 5 or 6 trunk sycamore tree. It's got some stickers around it. That's going to keep a lot of people from walking up and looking too close. But just right there, I would expect there to be 8 or 10 mushrooms next week. Little sycamore seed looks like a mushroom. Yep.